This is Youngsa with MMAfighting.com speaking with Iron Michael Chandler at the Hiatus Tequila launch event here in New York City. Now, before we get into the fight talk, I do have to ask, I've covered a couple fighters. They've had, they've launched alcohol. Connor obviously has the Irish, had the Irish whiskey. Aljamain had the Jamaican rum. Jorge had the mezcal, but you have tequila, and I don't think anyone really expected, Captain America, Michael Chandler, to partner with the tequila brand. So what exactly, drew you to Hiatus?
I've wanted to be in the space for a while. I actually thought about starting my own. I did not start my own. I actually came in and partnered with, invested in Hiatus with Christopher DeSoto, who's actually a local here in New York City. So this is where Hiatus Tequila started. So I wanted to be in the space. Tequila is my drink of choice, and once I tasted Hiatus for the first time, saw the bottle for the first time, I think I just felt something different. And then as soon as I met Chris, sat down with Chris, had my first dinner with Chris, it was a wrap after that. I wanted to be a part of it, and now we're a part of it in a big way.
And they obviously have three different flavors. They have the Blanco, they have the aged one, and they have the aged one. Which one is your personal favorite? I
sip the Blanco on the rocks. So the Blanco is like the most, I guess you would call it, it's like the pure tequila. Then you age it, right? So you age it 6 months with the Reposado, with the blue labeling, and then 12 months with the Añejo with the orange labeling. So you're going to get a lot more notes of those wood barrels in the Añejo and a little bit in the Reposado. But I just love the crisp agave flavor of the Blanco on the rocks with a lime or an orange twist.
So not a cocktail or margarita guy?
Every now and then I am. We had the Beat McGregor margarita for a while. We'll have to put that on the shelf till I get the opportunity to beat him. But I just like to drink it straight, man. It is that good of a tequila. That's one of the interesting things about Hiatus. I went down to La Cofradía, our distillery down in Mexico, met with the owners and watched how it was all done. There's, at the end of the whole process, after the cooking, after the harvesting, the cooking, the smashing, the distilling, and the fermentation process, it goes to the rectification room where you can add flavors. You can add glycerins, you can add all kinds of things. Hiatus Tequila goes to that room and nothing else gets added. It is 100% what it is supposed to be, and that's what Chris's intent always was. Tequila for tequila people, tequila the way tequila was intended to be.
And to kind of go off of that, I perused their website. I watched your video with him. He said you kind of want to change the image of tequila, kind of bring it back to its roots. So is that kind of what you're referring to?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between me and Chris and Hiatus Tequila. It's in its purest form. No cutting of corners, no added flares, no shortcuts. It is just pure and simple, the way it has been done for a century, the way it's been done for centuries, the way it was intended to be. Take the agave plant, harvest it, ferment it, ripe agaves. A lot of these big, huge commercial tequila companies also take agaves before they are ripe, and then you can do different things and manipulate things to make it taste like tequila. We do it the old-fashioned way, the right way, the way it was supposed to be. And I think that's kind of a representation of who I am as a fighter, as a man, as a father, as a husband, who Chris is. And I just wanted to help continue to bring his vision to life.
Do you think we'll ever see a Chandler Hiatus logo on the octagon?
Maybe. Obviously we've been in some talks. But the UFC's got their current partners. They've got a current tequila partner right now. And I love the UFC and how well they run their business. But there's always a way to sneak on in there and make some things happen. And the UFC's been very gracious. We've been to the UFC VIP parties, the On Location, obviously on a fight week like this in New York City, our birthplace. So it's pretty cool.
Well, you mentioned UFC 309, and just a couple quick MMA questions. When I interview fighters, when they have rematches, it's always like, how are you approaching this differently and everything? But you've had a lot of rematches. Either it's Benson, Primus, Pitbull, Will Brooks. So I guess, how are you approaching this fight with Charles differently, I guess, from your experience with all these rematches?
Yeah, I believe all the pressure's on him to beat me again. Once you've beat a guy, now you're supposed to beat him again. He was the better man at UFC 262 that night. Now I get an opportunity to right that wrong, right the ship, and cement myself as the #1 contender to be the highest ranked guy not named Islam or Arman. I believe it's going to be beautiful. And as far as preparation goes, man, I just did the exact same thing. I've been doing the exact same thing since I was 14 years old, working extremely hard, doing things right, focusing 90% on myself, my strengths, my attributes, what I bring to the octagon, and 10% what Charles brings to the octagon, and we put together a great game plan, and I believe I come out victorious.
I saw an interview where you said Chandler 1.0 was out for blood, Chandler 2.0 was out for the belt, and then I think a lot of the narrative surrounding the first fight was, Charles didn't quit, and then after your fight against Tony, you said it's time for people to stop doubting Charles Oliveira after he had just beaten José. So I guess, what do you expect from Charles in there on Saturday?
Man, he's a consummate professional. He came back in my fight. He was hurt in the Gaethje fight, hurt in the Poirier fight. He was hurt. He gets hurt in certain fights, and he has continued to battle back. And he became the champion for a reason. I think that quit is still in there. It's just stuffed a little bit further down in there. It's going to take a little bit more to be able to pull it out of him. We've all got a little bit of quit in us. You just got to keep putting the position in order to succumb to it. So that's my goal on Saturday night. Push him to that point, make him find the exit sign, look for the exit sign, and me to usher him toward it. And
you laid your game plan out. Beat Charles, sit cage side for Islam and Arman, fight the winner of that. So by this time next year, are you fighting Max Holloway? Is that the plan?
By this time next year, if that plan comes to fruition, which I think it very honestly could, yeah. So, that's a crazy 4-fight run. Maybe it ends up being 3 fights. Maybe Conor does come back, doesn't come back. Either way, it's Oliveira, and then it's Islam or Arman, and I believe it's going to be Islam. I think Islam's going to be too much for Arman for whenever they fight, January, February, whenever it's going to be.
And then just one real last one for me, unrelated to this fight. We talked a little bit off camera. I think next week is, the 13th year anniversary of your first win over Eddie Alvarez. That was your first major MMA world title. So I guess just looking back at the last 13 years to fighting an MSG, 4 or 5 times, now having a Tequila brand, what has just the last 13 years of your life been like?
It's been a dream, man. It really has. If you would have told me, if you would have told the 14-year-old me, even the 18-year-old me, even the 25-year-old me, I'd be standing here today on the cusp of another performance at Madison Square Garden, fighting again another top contender, putting myself into title contention, being 1 fight away from fighting for the title in the UFC, having all the different businesses and Hiatus Tequila, my wife and my sons, and just the life that I built, man. It's really crazy, and it's very humbling, and it makes me want to work that much harder and try to strive for that much more. So we ain't done yet. We're going to keep on going, baby.
Well, hopefully by this time next year you'll have a fight in Las Vegas.
I would love to fight in Las Vegas. That is my one thing. I can't ever retire unless I fight in Las Vegas, so I got to check that one off the box so I can, retire someday. But as of right now, it just hasn't worked out that way. This is be my 6th fight in the UFC, none of them in Vegas. So.
Well, thank you so much and good luck on Saturday, Mike. I appreciate it.